Yeah, got your 20 minutes.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. I am so appreciative of you recognizing me. And I am, I guess I would say, so appreciative of the Minister for the Cabinet Office who is responsible for IDT of setting the matter straight. But you heard it from the chirping, Mr. Speaker. The opposition isn't interested in information because they had a full briefing with the top civil servants who have been monitoring this issue and have more information than I would be able to answer off the top of my head, as they are the ones who have it. On Monday, I met with the opposition leader. The first workday back in the office. We spoke. It might have been Tuesday. I'm thinking Monday, Tuesday, one of them. We spoke. No, it was Monday. It was Monday. I spoke with the opposition leader. The opposition leader asked if a briefing could be arranged for his team. I said, respond back with times that would work. They responded back with a Wednesday. We couldn't make that work. As you can understand, we're doing things. And so I said, this meeting isn't going to work on the Wednesday. What is the time? And it was set on Thursday morning. For an hour, they were there with the CIO, the cabinet secretary, the permanent secretary responsible for IDT, the cabinet office, Boyd development, everything. All questions that they wanted for an hour could be answered. But then here we come, Mr. Speaker. And the complaints we have is that there was no statement made today so they could ask questions. The truth is, Mr. Speaker, they're not concerned about the information. They're concerned about playing politics.
Point of order, Mr. Speaker.
Yeah. Point of order.
Yeah, the honorable member obviously is misleading the House. Staging for sure, playing politics. That is not the case at all. If he wants to surmise, we'll do some more surmising.
Thank you.
Point of order.
Point of order.
The Honorable Premier is also impugning a proper motive. And if he really wants to sit and spend this speech talking about the OBA rather than addressing Bermuda on this issue, that'd be most unwise of him.
No problem. I know you're skillful enough not to cross
Mr. Speaker,
lines, so
Mr. Speaker, I'm hugely amused because I sat quietly through the government whip, Mr. Speaker, talking about how there was no speech, there was no this, there's no opportunity to ask questions. I'm sitting here, I'm like, I swear down, there was an entire briefing for an hour yesterday with technical officers. And then he's saying that we didn't have the opportunity to ask questions. And I'm sitting here, I'm like, okay, maybe I'm missing something. But, you know, he went ahead. The honorable minister went ahead and answered and cleared it up for everyone. But here's the thing. And you're all surprised because the opposition leader said, thank you for making it available. He said, thank you. But clearly, the politics on display up here is no. We wanted to hear from you today. That's it. Oh, don't worry. So let me continue, Mr. Speaker. Let me continue. See, they can't even figure out what page they're on. There's only two of them. There's only two. One saying one thing, the other one saying the other. We didn't want to hear from you. The other one was like, you're in charge. See, they can't even make it up. So let me go on, Mr. Speaker, because what I was getting to, Mr. Speaker, is people speaking with forked tongues. That's what we have right here. So now, Mr. Speaker, before there was all of this, unnecessary stuff from the leader of the opposition, let me address the same thing that I addressed. Sorry, the opposition whip. They change so often I can't keep up. The opposition whip said that he wasn't here Now, the challenge that I don't think that he seems to get is we have a team that is capable of working and pulling together to manage good, bad, and in between. And that, Mr. Speaker, is precisely what happened on Thursday evening when the scale of the attack was evident. Now, as I've said publicly, the meetings that I traveled to were pre-scheduled. There was an entire event where 50 persons had been invited and were joining us, whether it be congressmen, business leaders, representatives, legal persons, all other persons, Mr. Speaker. Here we go, Mr. Speaker. Again, trying to play politics. You would believe, listening to the opposition whip, that the premier of the country is going to run over to the data center and start pulling out cables and fixing things and doing things, running things. Let me tell you what we did, Mr. Speaker. We secured the best support that we could get. The same persons who have recent experience in dealing with this precise group, and they are working to get our systems back online. And now, hold a second. I'm here. Let me speak. You see, Mr. Speaker, they wanted an update, and now they're saying to say something else. So now let me go on, Mr. Speaker. Work has continued all day. Things are certainly looking better, and I am grateful for the public officers, the IDT teams, the external vendors who are assisting, the various IT vendors that support the government of Bermuda. We have managed to restore more systems today. On the last day of the month, TCD is back to printing driver's licenses, back to printing vehicle licenses, almost fully operational. E1 is being restored and being tested. Border control systems are being brought back online. Custom systems are in the process of being restored. Our phone systems are currently active, most of them, and the final ones will be restored and ready to go on Monday, Mr. Speaker. There is significant progress that is being made. But I want to repeat, as I said yesterday in a press conference, the scale of this attack is like nothing the government of Bermuda has experienced before. Yes, we have been attacked before. But as we know with these cyber actors, they get more and more and more advanced. And they don't come through the front door.
Never do.
They don't. And so that is the challenge that we face. But here's the thing, Mr. Speaker. We are resilient. And just like we have dealt with other challenges before, we will deal with this particular challenge now. And to see public officers working late into the night, coming back first thing in the morning, continuing to do things because they know that it is their responsibility to stand up government services so the governor of Bermuda can continue to serve the people of this country. It is incredibly gratifying. Because, Mr. Speaker, they don't work for me. They work for all of us. This is all of us, the government of Bermuda, who was attacked. The Progressive Labor Party was attacked. The One Bermuda Alliance was attacked. No other third party or anyone else was attacked. We were all attacked by external actors who sought to cripple us and our functionality. You cripple the government, you cripple the economy, you stop payments going out throughout your system, you bring things to a halt. That's what happened, Mr. Speaker. And I would expect that the first thing from the opposition in a place like that would not be the puerile level of attacks that we saw from their senators. Puerile levels of attack. See, they're still over there on the plane, Mr. Speaker, so I'm going to let them continue there. I'm going to let them continue. I'm going to let them go ahead. So now, Mr. Speaker, let me move on, as this is the last session of the House of Assembly prior to a prorogation of the legislature. And it has been a productive day, wrapping up an incredibly productive session, where from when we came back in November through the budget session and the summer session and our September sittings, the amount of legislation, changes, advances that we've managed to put in place is evident that this government remains focused on executing its agenda for the people of this country. We are making investments which will take time to bear fruit, but we are remaining on the course. We know the Honorable Minister behind me, Minister Burt, told the story how he came to me frustrated about how he needed to build housing. And I said, how much money do you need, Colonel? He said, let me get back to you. He said, if you give us me $50 million, I'll be able to bring 100 units online. I said, you have it, go. That was last year. Now we see the results of those investments bearing fruit, Mr. Speaker, with more affordable housing units open a few weeks ago, some more to be open this month and next month, and continuing, Mr. Speaker. When we speak about investments that take time to bear fruits, we don't have to look any further than the colleague who sits next to me, the Deputy Premier, who announced today, as was shared on Monday, that one of the biggest companies in the world has chosen Bermuda due to legislation that was put in place in 2020 as part of the Economic Recovery Plan. You know, Mr. Speaker, the plan that the opposition says we're not executing, but then time after time again, things from that plan that we put in place, didn't listen to their comments, pressed ahead, are bearing fruit for the people of this country. Our investments in our people, changing from the posture of austerity to investments, allowed the Minister of National Security today and yesterday to celebrate, and today to announce this honorable chamber, 23 new Bermudian firefighters, Mr. Speaker. The investments that we are making in our people will continue. And even when we try to make changes, such as expunging cannabis convictions and run into challenges with the Bermuda Police Service, who is not underneath our control, we will make the changes necessary to carry out what we promised to the people of this country. And that, Mr. Speaker, was accomplished today. Economic recovery plans and expansion of the EEZs. We heard the Minister of Economy and Labor today lay out the plan, table something here in this House so persons know the direction of travel. And, Mr. Speaker, the update that we gave earlier today on tax reform is something real, because we have been progressing on this journey for the last few years. And now we are in a place where there is broad acceptance that Bermuda must live up to its global commitments and introduce for the first time a corporate income tax. And when we come back after the prorogation, Mr. Speaker, this honorable House will put that into law. Yes, Mr. Speaker, governing is not easy. Trust me. But as I said earlier, I was heartened by a conversation with one of my backbenchers a few days ago. And this is somebody who said, this government has tackled things that other governments would be afraid to tackle. Whether it's education reform, whether it's tax reform, whether it's minimum wage, whether it's healthcare reform, the difficult issues that have bedeviled us for a while, that when politicians get up and try to make lasting change, those who may be impacted by those changes rise up and politicians step back. Our children deserve us to lead. And be clear, Mr. Speaker, this government and this cabinet will continue to lead. That does not mean that we will not reconsider. That does not mean that we will not adjust. But we are focused on the mantra of which we were elected: rebuilding Bermuda with Bermudians at heart. A government that has Bermudians at heart will expand the social protections of which this government has expanded. A government with Bermudians at heart will reduce taxes for workers in this country, as we have done 4 times since coming into office. A government with Bermudians at its heart will make the investments of which we've made in education, in training, in job readiness to ensure that our people are ready to take their rightful place, Mr. Speaker. And that, Mr. Speaker, is what burns them. Because we are having success. Now, just to be clear, Mr. Speaker, it will be really easy to say we're not going to make changes to our transportation system and let our tourists complain every year. Easy. It will be really easy to say that we are not going to make sure that we can have a blue economy that is sustainable, that can create jobs, growth, economic opportunity, and increase investment in this country. It's easy not to do that. But we tackle the difficult issues. Ministers know that they must consult, and ministers do consult. Views are taken into account, but, Mr. Speaker, decisions have to be made. And so what I will say, Mr. Speaker, is that progress takes time. It requires both courage to take on these issues and patience to see the result of these issues. But here's the thing, Mr. Speaker. Rest assured, this Progressive Labor Party government has both courage and patience. As we have demonstrated over the years, we are not afraid to tackle those difficult issues. And as I know I've said in this house before, a conversation I had with a colleague, I am fine to lose my position for doing the right thing than to sell short the next generation of not having the courage to make the changes, though politically difficult, we know are in the best interest of this country and its future. That, Mr. Speaker, is the difference between this party and that one, Mr. Speaker. And that is the difference that our members have taken to the doorsteps of constituency number 8. It is the message that we take to the doorsteps around this country, and is the message of which we will continue to take around this country. Because we understand our mission. We are clear in our direction. And despite the unprecedented challenges that we have had to face in office, we will continue to persevere so that we can build that better and brighter Bermuda that people voted for. Mr. Speaker, it is not easy. Economic challenges exist. Our social challenges persist. But our desire to change the trajectory of this country, slowly turning that ship in the right direction, will continue undimmed. So, Mr. Speaker, I want to thank you for your grace in leading this session of the legislature. I hope that members have a good break and look forward to seeing us when we come back. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.